Sorry for being late. I need to do some technical settings. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, EdukTrends. For today, we'll be discussing mag-create o mag-curate, alin ang mas angat. So I'll be your speaker for today, Sir Jasper. Ayan. So let me just share something about myself. I'm a junior high school Filipino teacher, Microsoft Education Ambassador, Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, and I am affiliated with the DLSU Manila, currently taking up my Master of Arts in Philippine Studies, a graduate of the Philippine Normal University, and the last one is the most important thing, which is, I play the uke once in a while, and that's very important kasi we cannot innovate unless um, meron tayong time para i-release yung mga stress natin. Okay? So I consider myself as a digital viaduct who connects or bridges the gap between tech savvy, our students, and tech immigrant. Most of the teachers, well, not everyone, pero yung ilan kasi sa atin. So if you have any questions after this, or if you want to connect with me, here's my email address and my Instagram account. Okay, so let's start. Background of the study. This is actually an action research. Back in 2015, I worked with a publishing house who initiated the use of learning management system and creating their own content. So, ayan. This is a practical action research, experimental in nature. And yun nga, kasi meron akong 4 classes before and I kind of experimented dun sa dalawang klase ko that uses curated versus created content. So, yun nga, the main question that this study aims to answer is, in a flipped learning context, flipped learning is a modality of blended learning. So where do students learn best, in a curated or created content? So though it's in flipped learning, I think that the results could be used in different subjects. Katulad ko, ako ay nagtuturo ng Filipino. So I have 2 classes who use curated content, 10I, and 10G who use created content. So, purposive ang ginamit ko na sampling kasi sila na lang yung hindi ko na-meet nung week na yun. Tapos nag-click lang sa isip ko na, oh, well, what if gumawa ko ng study about it? Okay? So, ayun. So, I use the design of an in-class flipped learning. So, para sa learning playlist, pero you have ang goal ng teacher is to let them have their time to work doon sa mga activities na gagawin nila inside the classroom and not just for purely content mastering. So ito yung ginamit kong design kay Gonzalez of 2014. So as we all know, flipped classroom is an invented method of instruction, and teaching and learning takes place online outside the class, whereas homework is done in the classroom. Kaya siya binaliktad. So yung assignment na supposedly reading materials or videos ay ginagawa siya sa labas at puro firming up activities yung ginagawa natin sa loob ng classroom. Bibilisan ko na lang yung ibang part para dumating tayo kaagad doon sa meat ng study. So, ang proponent ay si John Bergman at saka si Aaron Sams. Sila ay teachers, so co-teachers sila. Tapos parang nag-result yung flipped classroom o flipped learning dahil most of their students ay absent o kaya nawawala sa classroom. So parang gumawa sila ng mga lessons o video lessons na pwedeng gamitin ng mga bata. And nakita nila na mas nag-review yung mga bata usually before an assessment. So ito yung sa traditional, sa classroom kasi nangyayari madalas yung knowledge building or introduction, tapos yung assignment or learning activities ay ginagawa sa bahay. So minsan nakakalimutan na din natin mga teachers mag-check. Again, flipped classroom or flipped learning is one of the many modalities in a blended learning setup. And kabaligtaran naman siya with that of flipped classroom kasi yung lesson building or yung introduction doon sa mga mini lessons or mga video lessons, dapat gawin ng bata sa labas, tapos yung firming up activities o yung mga inquiry-based learning nangyayari siya sa loob ng classroom. So in that case, kapag na siya teacher na na-master niya yung knowledge through different exit tickets, mas marami tayong time to work inside the classroom. So by definition, content creation ay content created by a teacher, solely by the teacher, contextualized to the needs of his or her students. It can be digital or traditional in presentation. So dahil nga, yun nga, 21st century learning, mas nagde-dwell tayo ngayon. And dun sa pandemic season that we have, nagde-dwell tayo ngayon doon sa digital presentation. And ano naman yung content curation? I'm pretty sure naririnig na ng marami sa inyo ito kasi ginagamit na rin siya sa marketing kapag nag-curate tayo ng content. But anyway, isipin natin na yung pag-curate ng lessons or ng content ay parang kapag pumasok ka sa museum or sa isang exhibit, naka-curate yung mga art materials o yung mga artifacts, depende dun sa value nila. So it's the collection and organization of material with value added by an expert. And in this setting or in this context, we are the expert, the teachers. Kasi nag-curate o nag-aayos tayo ng mga content depende dun sa kakailanganin ng mga estudyante natin. It could be a video done by other teachers, could be PDF, it could be stories or other learning materials na ginagawa ng ibang tao and pinapasok natin sa sarili nating class. Okay. So part of the research, of course, according to UJS 2013, there are 3 major points in creating your content. Objective, you explore your content, and know your audience. Yung objective is, of course, having the end in mind. Dapat kapag gumagawa ka ng content, alam mo kung ano yung gusto mong mangyari. Alam mo yung target na gusto mong gawin. You have your objectives, or else maliligaw ka with creating your content. And you explore your content. This is just about mastery of the content matter. I'm pretty sure tayo namang mga Filipino teachers o mga teachers ay kayang-kaya natin explain yung content o explore yung content na ito. And to know your audience, yun yung medyo tricky kasi dapat kilala natin kung sino yung ating kinakausap. Ilang taon sila, anong generation sila, Gen Z ba sila or millennials, kasi magkakaiba yung approach dito sa mga magkakaibang audience na ito. And hindi siya yung parang uupo lang sila the whole time, pero when you create your content, mas maganda if it's interactive, kapag kinakausap mo sila, and yung language use is also part of knowing your audience. So application in the study or learning design. So ito na, dito na tayo papasok dun sa kung paano yung naging disenyo nung sa classroom and paano yung naging resulta ng pag-aaral. Kasi nga, ang tanong natin ay alin yung mas angat sa dalawa? Okay? So ito po yung sample ng aking curated classroom. So nag-curate ako ng iba't ibang mga contents. Ayan. So hindi ko to ginawa pero hinanap ko sa internet para magamit ng mga estudyante ko para dun sa aming lesson. Okay? Tapos naman yung aking created content. So ako yung gumawa ng lesson, ng video lesson, ng mga activities lahat. So makikita niyo po dyan, I've recorded a video lesson using a slideshow in PowerPoint or slide recording in PowerPoint. Okay? So yan po. Tapos of course dun sa design ng aking classroom, anong study na yon, mayroong pre-test and post-test to determine kung ano yung magiging result, kung saan ba mas natututo o aling klase na gumamit ng different modalities o content strategy yung mas maganda yung result ng kanilang assessment. And nagbigay din ako ng survey sa kanila. What's good about our students in De La Salle Subel ay they're familiar with the jargons that we use. Yung mga flip lesson, learning playlist, yan, sanay na sila. Okay, so tinanong ko sila, sa pagbuo ng learning playlist o flip lesson, alin ang mas gusto mong paraan sa paglalahad ng aralin? Pipili lang sila kung curated yung ginawa ng ibang tao pero ginamit ni teacher para sa klase nila, o created. Ibig sabihin yung mismong teacher ang gumamit nito. So sa 10i, remember yung 10i ay gumamit sila ng curated content. Pero based on the results ay 20 out of the 22 respondents ang sumagot na mas gusto pa rin nila ang created content as compared to the curated content. So of course, makikita din natin dito na talagang napag-differentiate nila o napag-iiba nila yung created versus curated content. And yung 10G naman, grade 10G, ay gumamit ng created content. So teacher created, ako yung nag-record ng video, ako yung gumawa ng mga lessons. And same din yung results. So mas preferred nila ang created content as compared to that of the curated content. Ito naman yung results ang kanilang mga score. So we have the pre-test and the post-test. So yung pre-test mean score nila ay over 10, 5.03. Tapos yung yung standard deviation during the pre-test ay 2.72. That's for 10i na gumamit ng curated content. Tapos dun sa post-test, actually kumbaga statistically positive naman dahil dahil dun sa result ng post-test nila, sobrang nag-increase din yung kanilang mean score at naging 8.6 mula dun sa 5. Tapos nabawasan din, kung mapapansin natin, yung standard deviation, which is yung pagkakaroon ng kalat-kalat na score o yung layo niya doon sa mean score nila. So, as we can see, sa curated content, meron pa ring pag-angat. Pero tingnan natin yung resulta naman ng 10G na gumamit ng created content. Okay, so sa 10G, so almost the same with their pre-test score, 5.32, pero sobrang laki naman ng difference when it comes to their post-test score. So ang score nila ay mean score nila ay 9.32, and of course, as you can see, sobrang laki din ng binaba ng standard deviation o yung pagkakadikit na nga, sobrang mas dumikit na yung score o ng score ng class doon sa kanilang mean score na 9.32. So, doon sa first, second test na. Kasi yung first is asking them which would they prefer. Tapos, the second test is doon sa data analysis o doon sa assessment results. So, makikita natin at this point, makikita natin na, well, mas malaki yung itinaas ng score using a curated content. And just to be sure kung meron ba talagang significant difference, gumamit ako ng z-score to check or to treat the data. So ang naging z-score niya is 0.03, which is less than yung 0.05. So para masabi natin na nagkaroon ng significant difference. So ayan. So by treating the data, masasabi natin ngayon na, well, technically, talagang mas maganda yung naging result ng mga gumamit doon sa created content. And another layer just to give to affirm yung ating mga results is yung feedback from the students. So from student A, sabi niya, learning materials from external sources are too messy and too much to take in. So she's talking about yung mga curated content. We learn about a lot of unnecessary information that slows up our learning and makes us bored. So for me, personally, I prefer the lessons to be straight up to what we are supposed to learn. So dahil nga you have the end in mind in a created content, may iwasan mo yon kasi guided ka na doon sa gusto mong mangyari. Next, curated content doesn't have the same effect as created content personally. So masyado namang personal yung sagot ng batang ito, ano? So there is less emphasis on what the teacher wants to convey, and it's sometimes conflicting with other learning materials. Whereas created content is a generalized learning style. So kinoconsider yung learning style ng mga bata in creating content because you know your audience. Created content is also usually more simple than curated content and is easier to learn from as the theme or style of learning is uniform throughout. So yung style mo naman as a teacher and yung pag-answer mo dun style of learning ng mga bata, syempre mas consistent ka kasi kilala mo sila. Iba pa ay Kaya pagpasensyahan nyo na yung Filipino nila kasi hindi yun yung kanilang first language. Anyway, mas naiintindihan ko ang mga aralin kapag sinasabi at itinuturo ng guro gamit ang sarili niyang mga salita at definisyon. Mas komportable ako kapag alam ko na ang guro ang gumawa ng mga aralin dahil minsan iba ang natuturo ng mga website o video at minsan hindi reliable ang mga pinagkukunan. So yun yung isang tip siguro na pwede kong ibigay. Alam ng mga bata kapag hindi reliable yung source na ating pinagkukunan. So as teachers, we have that responsibility to really validate the resources that we use. Kasi of course, makakompare nila yun din sa ibang mga learning materials. Pero hindi naman lahat pro created content. Katulad nito, si Student E sabi niya, tulad ng pag-alam ko kay Sir B, may mga video at mga presentasyon na ginawa ng mga tao sa buong mundo na maaring magkaroon ng higit na karanasan sa ilang mga lugar na nagbibigay sa amin ng isang opinion na maaring mas malalim. So, ayun, sinasabi niya nga na, of course, there's a universality when it comes to some subjects like math, science, and English na minsan kasi limited din yung ating experiences. So parang para sa kanya, yung curated content ay pwedeng mas magamit din dahil mas malalim o mas expert yung ibang mga taong nagsasalita dito. Pero yun nga, dapat nating tandaan yung ginamit niya dyan na term na higit na may karanasan. So again, we validate our resources. Next, para po mas marami ang pwedeng maging source ng aming pag-research tungkol sa lesson at para hindi maiba yung aming pinapag-aralan sa mga aralin ng ibang mga estudyante o eskwelahan. So, yun, pinupunto naman niya is yung going with the standards para hindi masyadong nagkakaiba yung kanilang mga resources na ginagamit. Okay? So basically, ang conclusion ko with that study ay created is better than curated content. Teacher-created content. In creating a content, one must consider the acronym OCC, take note teachers. O means objective, C means content, kung anong nilalaman, explore your content, mastery of the subject matter, and of course the context. Context talks about the availability of technology or any materials that you have in your school or in your division. Lalo ngayon, di ba, I think, hindi ako sigurado, pero dun sa ibang mga school, gumagamit sila ng modular learning, sa iba online, sa iba blended. So, ang definition, ang understanding ko kasi ng blended noon is very, very, kumaga, limited to face-to-face and online. Pero ngayon, parang dahil distance learning, meron silang combination of modular, combination of face-to-face, and or online. So, I guess yun yung nagiging bago ngayon na konteksto ng blended learning sa atin. And kung meron pong nakikinig na mga coordinators or mga school superintendents or principals, there should be a paradigm shift when it comes to training the teachers. We should now focus on training them in creating their own content and not just choosing. Kasi yun nga, as the study revealed, mas natututo ang bata kapag ka-teacher nila yung sariling gumagawa ng kanilang content. And in creating, of course, we tap to our creativity. I just want to share with you yung theory of multimodal or yung multimodality. This is a theory which looks at the many different modes that people use to communicate with each other and express themselves. So kapag gumagawa ka ng content, of course, mas maganda if it's a multimodal content o ina-apply mo yung multimodal approach. So kapag ka ganito, associated access to multimedia composing software has led to people being able to easily use many modes. So dahil multimedia naman yung gamit natin, mas natatap natin yung iba't ibang modes of learning ng mga tao o ng mga bata, like yung mga visual, yung mga auditory, yung mga kinesthetic, at iba pang types of learners that we have. So multimodal is, of course, in our context, is about taking into consideration the different learning styles of our students. So the basics, the BART, visual, auditory, tactile, and kinesthetic. So this is actually a sample website where you can take assessment, tapos it will reveal kung ano yung iyong um, yung iyong learning style. So you could ask your students siguro to take that para you can check. Ayan. So makikita nyo dyan. As you can see, lalabas yung kanilang kumaga yung majority ng type of learning styles na nagagamit nila. So okay, yes. Sige. Sige, babasa lang ako ng ilang comments. This is from Mr. or Miss Janry Mancera. Opinion: on curated content, if you want this to be successful, you need to filter it thoroughly. You have to check the reliability and make sure that it is applicable to your lesson or your student. I agree totally with you. Kasi nga, nakikita ng mga bata. And that's the limitation of my subject, the Filipino as a subject. Kasi we don't have many resources available online. Doon sa conference na inatinan ko or pinagpresentan ko din itong presentation ko, ang question sa akin po ay paano ko daw pinili yung aking content. Pinili ko siya kasi ito lang yung para sa akin ay applicable doon sa mga estudyante ko, and meron siyang multimodal setting kasi merong nakalagay na mga text, tapos nagsasalita, at saka may video yung teacher o yung taong nagsasalita dun sa video. But definitely, I agree on your comment po. Thank you for that. So again, this is one way to check yung basic na type of learning styles that your students has. And of course, using an LMS. So in creating your content, it's better to use an LMS or a learning management system. This is not just a content management system, but a learning management system. Because a good learning management system allow you to take into consideration or to assess the learning of the students. So you have there the quizzes na pwede mong gamitin. So ito yung ginamit ko doon sa aking learning playlist. So ayan. So ito po ay Schoology. Kung meron yung gumagamit sa inyo, continue using it. Kasi for me, it's really a good learning management system. Okay? So ano pa yung kagandahan if you're using a learning management system? Hindi ka basta-basta nagbibigay ng link, hindi ka basta-basta nagbibigay ng YouTube link sa mga bata na pwede silang ma-exploit. Kasi of course, maraming ads dun sa mga videos na ginagamit natin. In this type of learning management system, meron siyang kumbaga feature na hindi magpe-play yung ibang videos aside from what you posted. And you can create the content using or recording your presentation using slide recording. So ito ay feature sa Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can use Office Mix pero parang wala ng Office Mix. So now you have the recording. So pwede mong i-screen record yung iyong presentation and save it as MP4 or as a video file. So yan yung pwede natin gawin. Another application is KineMaster Pro. I'm pretty sure marami nang gumagamit nito. So KineMaster Pro, again, it answers yung multimodality kasi you can put text and the teacher can, be in that video. So ayan. Hindi pro yung ginamit ko sa meron siyang watermark. Pero definitely it offers naman yung mga para matanggal yung watermark. So ayan. Okay. So KineMaster Pro, live board. Wala akong demo ng live board, but you can check this out. Live board is actually it's a parang whiteboard application na kung saan kapag in-enter ni student, kung meron siyang live board app, you as a teacher meron kang live board app, pwedeng simultaneous. So kung meron kang equation na gustong ipakita, you can check or show it to them real time. So you can check that out. WiserMe is a web application naman. Sinare lang to sa akin. So you could check this web application. So yeah, you can also create your interactive worksheets. You have the videos. Pwede kang mag-insert ng video, pwede kang mag-insert ng questions, mag-drawing sila. Pwede silang makinig ng instruction mo. So yan. So para din siyang learning management system where your class needs to join. Ayan. So ito yung mga sample application that you could use to tap yung creativity natin in creating our own content. Quiver. Ang Quiver ay isang web applications pero this is an AR app. So siguro pwede to sa mga kids, dun sa mga bata. So yun lang. Ang con siguro ay this is an iPhone application. I'm not sure if it's available dun sa Android. Pero yan. AR siya. So you need to download the paper kung saan magdodrawing yung mga bata. So this is just one example of it. Ayan. So dahil AR siya, mabubuhay dapat yung nandun sa picture o nandun sa papel. Yan. So you could check. Yan. So that's an example of an AR app. Actually, marami pa naman yan. So you could definitely check. So you can include it in a curated content or kasi hindi siya editable. So but if you know any content na pwede kang mag-create ng sarili mong AR, that's better. So yeah, that's Quiver. And I think this is the last application that I'll be sharing with you, PhotoSpeak. So yung mga teacher naman, especially yung mga, ako sa literature ko kasi siya ginamit kasi Filipino yung tinuturo ko. So para mabuhay ko ang isang character ay gumamit ako ng PhotoSpeak. Again, this is an iPhone application. So you can record doon sa character o doon sa picture para mabuhay siya. And you can download the file, put it in your presentation para yeah, mabuhay pa. Okay? So that's one. Ganito ko siya ginamit sa akin. So yan. So during my presentation ay pumipikit-pikit siya. Yan. So that's one way. And yung naging style ko dyan is tinatanong ko si Huli doon sa kanyang sa presentation. Pero of course, kailangan mong i-train yung sarili mo para tama yung pagpindot mo kung kailan magsasalita yung character. Okay? Ayun, and it's not just about creating our content, but sabi nga, di ba, we need to consider our learners. Kung sino ba yung learners natin? Of course, most of our learners now are part of the Gen Zs. So, pinanganak noong 90s or to the current 2000s. So, they are the digital natives. So, ito yon. Share ko sa inyo, sabi nga, Gen Zers take 8 seconds to decide whether content is worth their time and if it benefits them. So kapag hindi mo na natap yung kanilang interest for that 8 seconds, ay may hirapan ka nang ibalik yung interest nila with your lesson. I've been hearing a lot of feedbacks from my students na yung mga teachers nila gumagawa ng YouTube account, YouTube channel, pero minsan you need to be careful kasi very, very critical yung mga students natin. Kasi lalo na kung kilala ka na nila or in the middle of the school, you decided to create your own content or your YouTube channel. Tapos, baka hindi nila pinapanood kasi they find it cringy. Sorry for the term, pero that's really is a reality. Nagiging cringy yung content. And you know why? Because they can determine kapag you are faking it. So kapag nagiging fake ka in front of the camera or you're teaching them tapos iba yung itsura mo or iba yung paraan ng pagsasalita mo sa video and that of the real life, hindi nagiging maganda yung pagtanggap ng mga students. So make sure na i-consider natin kung paano tayo maharap sa kanila and paano natin tinuturo yun in a video lesson or in the content that we create. Because they can definitely, they're critical about it. Next. They trust influencers because their lives are relatable. So, ayan, I'm pretty sure kilala nyo naman yung mga influencers na pinapanood ng mga bata. So, pwede nyo din yung gamitin gauge para dun sa kanilang pagkatuto. 60% want to positively impact the future of the world and participate in social activism. So ito daw na generation na to ay yung talagang very involved sila dun sa nangyayari sa ating paligid. Okay? They're likely to give feedback or reviews online. So kapag kahiningan mo sila ng feedback, ay talagang magko-contribute sila doon sa pagbibigay ng idea na yon. Ito kasi in the context of marketing din sa pagbibigay ng idea din sa brand. Pero sila talaga yung mahilig magbigay ng review online. Or kapag hindi nila gusto yung content, hindi nila gusto yung pine-present mo, they could just show how uninterested they are. Ayan. So again, this is in the context of marketing. If experience is positive, 89% will promote the brand. So, and uses up to 5 devices at a time and checks social media about 100 times a day. Parang nakakasakit na yun sa mata, pero for them, that's actually normal. So again, in creating your content, you need to consider the objective, your content, master your content, and the context. Context talks about the type of students that you have, their learning styles, and the technology that is available in your school or in your division. Or even with your students, kung ano yung kanilang ma-access. So kailangan natin yung i-consider. So this is actually the end of my presentation. And I will leave you with this. This is Sal Khan. Sal Khan is the founder of Khan Academy, if you're familiar. So sabi niya, no one should have the delusion that this is somehow an ideal situation, itong pandemic, or that tech is a replacement for a physical environment. If I had to pick between an amazing teacher and an amazing technology, I would pick the amazing teacher every time. Ideally, you have amazing tools and technology and resources in support of the amazing teacher. And it should never be tech for tech's sake. It should always be, okay, there's some pedagogical goal, and then what are the tools at disposal to reach it. So sinasabi niya lang dyan na mas preferred niya nga yung amazing teacher, pero it should not be tech for tech's sake para lang masabi na gumagamit tayo ng technology. Pero ano ba yung ating pedagogical goals? Kasi yun yung dapat nating ma-achieve. So that's all. Again, if you have any questions, you could hit me up or follow me on Instagram and send an email. And so I guess our hosts are with us.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi, Sir Jasper. So thank you for accepting our invitation for you to be one of our
no worries.
So grabe no. So ang dami rin
natin
at ang daming application na pwedeng gamitin ng mga teachers lalo na sa darating na August 24. So we have a question ng I don't know if I think from Sir DJ, so many apps that can be used in teaching. Bakit ngayon ko lang nalaman to? Thank you for this webinar. Thank you, Sir Jasper. Thank you, EdukTrends. So, di ba, sobrang dami. Kailangan lang talaga natin. Naalala ko nga, sabi ng isang speaker namin, si Sir Christian last Monday, sabi niya, kailangan mo daw natawa ko. Kailangan mo daw maging Dora. Explore na lang.
True. And yun nga, kasi sobrang dami din. And wag natin yun lang. Sobrang dami, pero wag nating pilitin. Kasi kung magiging pilit naman, then it's not gonna be worth it. Kasi kung hindi naman nasasagot yung pedagogical goal, then you just leave it and go to what's your go-to apps. So yun lang.
We need to curate also, di ba?
Oo, yes, definitely. Kasi doon naman sa results ay meron din naman talaga siyang positive effect din sa grades ng mga bata, din sa poses and pre-test nila. I'm not saying you don't curate, Kaya yung sinasabi ko lang, based on that study, you can create your own based on your context. Pero, yun nga, kung mag-curate tayo, we need to consider yung ating mga resources na ginagamit. There's this concept of micro-learning na talagang maliliit o yung maliliit na chunk lang talaga yung nilalagay dun sa video para yun lang yung ma-absorb ng mga students. Kasi sorry if I need to call out some teachers or kung ano yung ginagawa ng ibang mga teachers, yung iba magbibigay lang yan ng video without even putting kung what part yung papanoorin ng mga bata. Eh di ba pwede naman yun sa thumbnail like from 1 minute to 5 minutes siguro ganon.
So tama. So kailangan pa kung ano no, parang ibibigay nila yung full video. Tapos yung pala mga 2 minutes lang yung kailangan nila. So yung mga
tapos pagdating din sa assessment, ito lang pala yung i-assess.
Yes.
So, yun naman yung kayang masagot ng created content. Because if you have the objective, you as a teacher can create your own content, contextualize dun sa end in mind, dun sa gusto mong i-assess dun sa mga bata.
Grabe, no? Ang galing. Sir Jasper from Ma'am Neri Otelo. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your expertise and insights. Love the apps. Hope I can use one of them. Galing.
Yes, at least one. Ayun, yun pa. Additional siguro tips. Huwag tayo ma-overwhelm sa dami ng mga apps. We can research kung ano-ano yung mga gamit ng mga ito, but choose siguro limited to 1 to 2 na talagang magagamit natin sa classroom. Kasi if we have a lot in our hands, hindi na din natin alam kung alin yung mas nagiging effective. And ayaw naman natin na maging guinea pig yung mga bata na test this app or this app or this app. So it's better to be a master of one application that you could use really thoroughly and paulit-ulit kaysa dun sa papalit-palit tayo pero walang mastery without of the teacher and the students.
Actually, Sir Jasper, this question is, alam mo yun, ang ganda ng question ni Sir Ernesto Caberte. Ano-ano pong mga online resources o apps ang pwedeng gamitin sa iba't ibang level ng pag-iisip ng mga mag-aaral sa online distance learning? So, anong siya ni Sir Ernesto Caberte? Ayan.
Okay. Saan yun? Well, kasi like sa pagpili na, usually itong mga web applications na to, meron silang details kung ano yung age bracket na pwedeng gamitin yung sa mga bata. And it's siguro it's about knowing your audience, knowing your students, what level they are. Kasi as early as siguro mga grade school, mga grade 5 or 6, meron nang gumagamit sa atin ng learning management system. Pero the content, kasi yung core ng talk, the content is really knowing your students and the language that you use para ma-deduce nila. It doesn't matter kung ano yung application na gagamitin mo as long as it's easy to use, kayang ma-access ng mga bata, and it's contextualized to their needs and naiintindihan nila. So in creating your content, it could be YouTube, okay lang. But then again, ang worry ko with that ay in presenting your content, yun nga, it's very dangerous kasi mas na-exploit natin yung mga bata with the ads, nagiging sila yung product. So yun, there are certain applications like Flipgrid with Microsoft. It's a video sharing application that you could use. Learning management systems such as Schoology allows your student to attach videos na pwede nilang isubmit din. So pwede nilang magamit.
At saka yung sinasabi ni Sir na iba't ibang level ng pag-iisip. Siguro kasi Sir, 'di ba tama, may yung mga application, meron din siyang iba't ibang gamit. Like una, depende kung is it an understanding, you want your students to understand this, or you want your students to just read it or to just watch this video. So yung mga ganong bagay. Like tama ba, Sir Jasper?
Yes.
Kasi napakaraming app na pwedeng gamitin ng mga teachers eh. So, is that for understanding? Is that for meaning making? Yung mga ganong bagay?
Meaning making.
Yes.
Yes. Tsaka yun nga, yung yung talagang magva-vary din sa paraan ng paggamit ng teacher kasi any app can be used as long as you contextualize it to the needs of your student, to the level of your student. So as a teacher creator, quote ko yung aking friend na si Sir Hil Turingan, sabi niya, ano yun? Creature? Kasi teacher, create, teacher, parang gano'n. So sabi niya, as a creator or as a teacher creator, you need to really know your audience, your students, and what languages do they use, ano yung level of understanding nila. Kasi kung hindi talaga magpa-match yun at hindi mo ma-contextualize, then magfe-fail at magfe-fail talaga yung any applications that you use.
Yes. Hi sir, hi kay Sir Hil Toringan. Actually, nag-talk si Sir Hil last week ata, last Friday.
Yes.
Oo, so thank you Sir Hil, o di ba? Mga na-scam.
May pasama tayo din.
Oo, mag So, siguro additional din doon kay Sir sa question ni Sir kanina si Ernesto. Siguro kasi maraming iba't ibang apps na pwede nilang gamitin. Like for example, for remembering lang ng mga student, ano yung mga pwede nilang app na pwede nilang gamitin for them or for the students just to remember. Kasi meron ding for understanding, then meron din mga for applying what they have learned na pwede nilang gawin sa application, or mga for analyzing na application na, so it's for you to check kung ano talaga yung purpose ng paggamit nyo ng app. Are gagamitin ba, mag-a-analyze ba si student ng data? So kapag mag-a-analyze si student ng data, napakarami, like yung basic na Google Sheets or spreadsheets, those are applications that they can use to analyze data. They can also evaluate. O ano, may mga apps na pwede nilang gamitin for them to evaluate something like Google Forms. They can use that for evaluation, or diba, yung mga ganong ba, or is it for creating? Are they going to create something for their performance based test, or are they going to record something like mga pwede silang, kung magke-create sila, pwedeng gumamit sila ng website, like magkakaroon sila ng mga video creation, yung mga ganon. So depende rin kung saan mo gagamitin eh. So for content,
and usually kasi yung mga learning management system, like meron na din silang mga features na pwedeng magamit to check yung iba't ibang level of understanding ng mga bata. Like for example, sa Schoology as a learning management system, pwede mo silang bigyan doon ng reading materials or ng yung mga short quizzes to check yung understanding, or like multiple choice. Meron na doon. So yung sa Wiser Me, marami din siyang features na yung may mga drag and drop na pwede rin gamitin sa Google Slides. So, yun. Talagang, ano lang talaga, like, kung pagiging Dora is about exploring, you have to be creative. Parang sabi nga, di ba, sa isang commercial, imagination mo ang limit. So, ayun. So, talagang wag nating ilimit yung ating imagination. But then again, we need to assess the type of students, the learning, or yung level of our learners. Kasi we can just use anything. So, explore the applications. Yes, sir. Ano-ano pong apps ang pwedeng gamitin kahit offline po? May mga mag-aaral na kasi can't afford na makapagpa-load uh, para sa data sa internet. Ayan, Sir Ernesto, actually, yun lang ang limitation when it comes to, like, if we're thinking about applications, may mga offline, may mga read-on applications or read-on pwede mong ipasa sa kanila, like yung mga PDF readers. Pero very limited if we're talking about applications. What you can do, I suggest, meron feature ang PowerPoint na ang ang PowerPoint na pwede mong i-record, then save it to a USB, you lend it to a student. Pwedeng ganon.
Office
Or
mate.
siguro, or as a school, pwede na meron tayong isang station where they could download the content na ginawa ng teacher and bring it with them. So, yun yung mga ganang paraan. Using their phone, pwede naman isalpak lang natin yung cord tapos isave natin dun sa phone nila. So, yun, pwede natin yung gawin. Actually, in Word, Microsoft Word, pwede ka rin mag-insert ng video lesson and yung mga questions, tapos save it to USB, send it to the student, or let them copy it for their usage. Tapos give it back to the teacher for checking. So meron din ganung feature si Microsoft.
Ayun. So, ayun yung mga pwede natin gamitin, yung mga for offline activities.
Yes.
So, aside from doon, alam ko sa public school, they have this modular. So, kapag wala talagang, kapag wala talagang internet connection or talagang hirap sa internet connection at gadget na pwede nilang gamitin, they have this modular approach. So, ayun yung pwede nilang yung pwede nilang gamitin or pwede nilang gawin.
Tsaka parang yun na talaga ata yung direction ng marami sa kanila. Kasi ako yung pamangkin ko, modular sila dito sa elementary school sa amin. Kaya lang, of course, syempre, as a teacher na yung you create your own content, parang nakikita ko na mas maganda na meron ding supplemental materials na maipoproduce yung teacher or yung division or yung school to support yung modular. Kasi parang kapag ka module ay mabigat din. Mabigat din yung responsibility for the parents. So, parang paano kung hindi master ng magulang, saan siya tatakbo? Sino yung tatakbuhan niya?
Actually, kasi may mga parents kasi like, 'di ba, in reality, may mga parents na hindi naman nakapagtapos mag-aral. So, hindi nila matutulungan yung mga anak nila at hindi rin nila maintindihan yung mga bagay. So, siguro, ayun yung mga nakakalungkot na ngayon, nangyayari ngayon. So, eto sir, may question tayo. Kaya pa bang mag-entertain ng question? Eto, does all the applications, sir, are all friendly user, young age can easily adapt? But how about po sa mga teachers na may edad na, which is yung nakasanayan nila ay more on manual? Thank you po.
Well, yung mga binigay ko naman ay kung hindi man siya sa tingin ninyo ay friendly user, usually ako ang style ko is to really research sa YouTube kung paano ko to gagamitin. Okay? And well, most of the apps naman na binigay ko ay friendly user. Siguro I'm not sure with Liveboard kasi I haven't tried it. Parang mas applicable siya sa math. Pero yon, talagang ang challenge for us younger teachers ay to assist yung mga older, yung mga seasoned teachers natin on how they could use the applications. Kasi yun yung naging style namin. Ako as a coordinator in the Filipino unit, talagang yung guidance with them, we have our contextualized seminar for our subject in the unit to really guide them kung ano yung mga basic applications that they could use para doon sa pagbibigay ng kanilang online distance sessions.
Ayun. Actually, siguro anong date pa lang ba ngayon? It's still July 16. Maybe they can start having their training. And I'm sure they're having the training na, 'di ba, care of the division office or their school principal. Yes. Alam ko nagti-training na rin sila. So itong mga millennials, itong mga new generations talaga, we really need to napakalaking maitutulong natin sa mga seasoned teachers natin. So if you can volunteer to help them, so yon. At least kasi hindi naman natin siya gagawin para dito sa mga teachers na to. Syempre ang end goal natin ito ay yung mga estudyante pa rin natin. 'Di ba? Tama naman.
talagang like request, if you could request, or you as a unit initiate a program or a training session na nakakontextualize sa subject ninyo. Kasi para alam na ninyo as a unit or as a subject kung ano yung gagamitin or ano yung gagawin ninyo. So makakatulong din yun kasi mas maliit yung population when it comes to training. So, yun, very effective siya, I guess.
Mm-mm. At saka alam ko may mga classmate din ako nakikita ko, nag-aano sila eh. Meron sila mga webinar na ina-attend ngayon sa Care of DepEd. So alam ko napakaraming sa
parang bawat division meron silang mga sample video lesson, sample mga session. So, yun, maganda yun. Nakita ko yung isa kong lower batch sa akin sa PNU, meron siyang sample na video. Ginamit niya yung kinemaster mo. So, maganda yung kinalabasan.
Mm-mm. Tapos kung makikita mo, no, ang galing, ang daming creative na teachers, so, napaka-creative na mga teachers. Yung iba nga, ang daming ina-upload na sa Facebook, Sir Jasper, then they're using it sa klase nila. So, ayun. Syempre, ikaw, ano ka na, content creator ka na, di ba?
Pero yun, siguro ang danger lang nun kapag ka sa Facebook kasi hindi natin masyadong ma-manage. Pero if we use a learning management system, I would suggest still to use a learning management system para nandun lang siya sa loob ng learning management system.
Yes,
at hindi siya ma-exploit, hindi siya magagamit ng iba basta-basta without your consent.
Mm-hmm. So, yun. So, at saka sa YouTube din, they can also upload it. Tapos, syempre, meron ding doon, you can select if it's private or unlisted. Yung isang speaker natin, actually, si Sir Adrian, Sir Adrian. Yes. Oo. Yung Sir Ian's class sa YouTube, ang galing kasi ang dami niya ng videos and that's MELC aligned, MELC yung sa public school na naka-align yung mga videos niya. Remember Doc E? So 'di ba ganun din kay sa number blender kay Doc E. So parang ganun, nag-start na rin siyang gumawa ng ganun.
Yes.
At alam ko for sure dito sa atin sa mga nanonood, merong mga gumagamit na ng video ni Sir Ian. Kasi alam ko, last time may mga nag-comment na user din sila nung video si Sir Ian. Ginagamit din nila.
Oh, nice.
So, as of now, 11K na ang kanyang subscribers. At sobrang sa mga
Okay yun
Oo, ang galing niya. Ang ganda ng mga videos niya. Kasi, actually, teacher siya ng kapatid ko sa grade 7. So, nakikita ko yung mga videos sa pag-post niya. Ang galing, ang ganda.
And we need to have more Sir Ians na magpo-post ng mga video lessons. Kasi yun yung nakita ko sa YouTube ngayon. At least for my subject, Filipino, na puro, kung hindi man halos lahat, ay student-made. Gawa ng estudyante. Siguro pa-project ng teacher nila, gagawa kayo ng video. Pero very minimal, very limited yung content na ginawa mismo ng teacher. So, yun. Kapag ka gano'n, nahihirapan tayo to curate at magre-resort talaga tayo into creating our own content.
So, yun. So, aabangan namin yung mo, sir, yung YouTube channel mo. Mga Filipino
sige, ipaplan natin yan.
Mga Filipino content man. So, meron ka ba Sir Jasper, na pwede tayong
hindi ko pa nila doon. So, makikisingit na lang ako sa EdukTrends PH siguro.
Kasi for sure, makakatulong sa mga teachers itong video ni Sir Jasper. So, aside from, may mga lifestyle ka din ba doon? Mga lifestyle video?
Wala.
Or more educational talaga?
Mostly educational talaga, and like yung mga digital citizenship, data privacy tips, mga ganyan. So, actually, pwede rin namang lifestyle. Siguro pwede akong mag-cover na mga kanta, mga ganyan.
Diba? Yung pwede ka
correct.
Yung mga tayo Ukulele, di ba you're playing ukulele, yung mga gano'n, magko-cover ka.
Yes. I have my white uke. Ang pangalan niya ay Tisay. So,
Ay, wow. Ayan. Ito naman, Sir Jasper, sabi ni Maria Fe, Irma, Valera, yung pag-credit sa owner, malaking tulong yon para naman ma-acknowledge yung gawan yung videos na kung tutuusin, libre na nga naming nagamit. Thank you for the very good topic, sir.
yes. So, yun. So, of course, in the fair use, as long as it's not monetized, hindi siya pinagkakakitaan at ginagamit natin siya for educational purposes, we comment or critique it, pwede naman natin siyang gamitin sa ating content. But then again, that should be a practice na i-acknowledge natin yung resource o yung video na yan. That's very good.
Oo, para na at least na diba, to give credit doon sa gumawa at pinaghirapan niya naman. At para nakakatulong din sa atin. It's a win-win situation.
Lalo na kung kung YouTube creator siya, na teacher din, so mas makakatulong yun sa ating lahat.
Oo nga, ang galing nga kung lahat ng teachers ay YouTube creator, no? Tapos napakadaming content na yung mga estudyante,
correct,
at least marami ng supplemental na activity
and
or mga videos.
Hindi lang estudyante siguro, pati parents.
Yes,
Lalo
exactly.
ngayon sa setup natin, 'di ba? Na modular. So parang ako, tinatanong ng anak ko ano yung scientific notation. So paano ko 'to gagawin? So pwede siyang maghanap ng video sa YouTube na ginawa ng Filipino teacher na alam natin naka-contextualize sa curriculum natin. So madali niyang mapapanood 'yun.
Yung scientific notation gawa ng Filipino teacher.
Pwede. Kasi di ba si Dr. E ay ganun yung ginagawa niya.
Ang galing, no? So, alam ko yung kay Doc E, yung mga math content niya ngayon ay inadapt ni DepEd. So,
wow!
So lahat ng content niya ay alam ko nasa website ni DepEd eh. Hindi ko lang sure kung ano yung website ni DepEd, pero andoon lahat yung content niya kasi naka-align siya lahat sa MELC at sa curriculum ng DepEd. So, ayun.
Maganda yun kasi contextualize sa atin. Kaya parang hindi ka mahihirapan maghanap ng content kapag ka maraming content available for Filipino learners.
Tama. So, yun. Ayun, Sir Jasper, thank you so much. I guess wala na tayong mga questions dito. At alam kong gutom na gutom ka na at di ka pa ata nagla-lunch.
Nagla-lunch. Yes.
So yun, sigaw one last word of encouragement na lang sa ating mga teachers, lalo na sa darating na Agosto 24. Alam ko mag-start na ang ODL sa mga pampublikong paaralan sa Pilipinas.
Be a creative, Dora. Siguro, no? When you explore, you need to be creative in creating your own content. And treat technology as your friend. Kasi kapag may apprehensions na tayo din sa technological use, then it will not benefit our students.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Jasper, at maraming salamat.
Thank you,
Yes.
Thank you, EdukTrends.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you po.
Bye.
Salamat po.